When it comes to cartoon icons, I'd say that SpongeBob SquarePants is in the Mickey Mouse tier of fame. But despite his popularity, our absorbent, yellow, and porous friend's life is a misunderstood one. Do those around him take advantage of his good nature? Is he as annoying as everyone says he is? Is he destined to live the rest of his life flipping burgers? Well, in today's video, I'll be taking you on a tour of nautical nonsense. To answer all that and more, it's time to take a look at the life of SpongeBob.
He's acting all crazy! Run! Gotta hide behind that building!
Our square-panted friend first hit our screens with the episode Help Wanted, where we see him gearing up for what is to be the biggest day of his life, trying to secure a job at the finest eating establishment ever established for eating, the Krusty Krab. It's revealed to us that it's been SpongeBob's lifelong dream to work there, and now his dream is in touching distance. It's right in front of him, a Help Wanted sign in the window, and no other applicants. He can do this.
I can't do this!
But anxiety and self-doubt washes over the sea sponge. What if he can't live out his dream? Maybe he's not cut out for being a fry cook. His self-doubt is quickly put on hold though when he runs into his best friend Patrick, who reminds him just how long he's waited for this moment. With that said, the fact that SpongeBob's first thought is that he isn't good enough already suggests that he's lived a life of low self-esteem where he's constantly told he'll never make it. But that doesn't stop Patrick from hyping him up.
Who's a big yellow cube with holes?
His newfound confidence, SpongeBob rushes to the restaurant where a bemused Squidward tells Mr. Krabs to not even waste a second on their potential new recruit. Squidward and Krabs can't really bring themselves to be honest with SpongeBob, so instead hatch a ludicrous plan to get him out of their hair. A fool's errand. They tell him that if he brings back a certain item, he'll officially be a part of the Krusty crew. Only one problem, they want a hydrodynamic spatula with port and starboard attachments and a turbo drive. Yeah.
Terrible. A hydro what?
So not only do Krabs and Squidward not take the young sponge seriously, they prey on his good nature and willingness to live out his dreams instead of just being straight with him. But poor naive SpongeBob does what Krabs asks and goes out trying to find a hydrodynamic... yeah, you get the idea. Meanwhile, while Squidward and Mr. Krabs are still laughing about what they did to SpongeBob, a sea of anchovies turn up at the Krusty Krab demanding food. Wave after wave of ravenous fish start to destroy the restaurant.
Button down the hatches, Mr. Squidward!
With no fried cook and the end looking likely for Krabs and Squidward. There's only one burger flipping sponge who can save the day.
Permission to come aboard, Captain!
That's right. Somehow, someway, SpongeBob manages to find a spatula that fits the description and flies back to the Krusty Krab to feed the mob of hungry fish. And that act of pristine fast foodsmanship shows exactly why he's cut out for a job at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs eats his words and hires SpongeBob on the spot. It was a happy ending for sure, but the thing I always took away from this as a kid was that SpongeBob was so close to not living out his dream, something that he might be the best in the underwater world at, just because his neighbor doesn't like him. Someone else's judgment of him nearly cost him his livelihood. Luckily, it all worked out in the end. But man, Squidward and Krabs were kinda cruel. From that day forward, SpongeBob became a fast food phenom, dedicating his life to being part of the Krusty crew. But in the episode Pickles, his livelihood is once again put on the line. The episode begins with a packed Krusty Krab filled to the brim with hungry fish, looking to scratch their Krabby Patty itch, and SpongeBob is in a deep fast food flow.
1 dozen crying cows on the farm. Up!
Thanks, Farmer Brown.
Business is running smoothly, that is, until a gigantic fish by the name of Bubble Bass barges through. He makes himself first in line. He asks for, well, I think he asked for a burger? I'm not quite sure.
Light axle grease, make it cry, and let it swim.
We serve food here, sir.
Despite the confusion with Bubble Bass's order, SpongeBob produces exactly what he asked within seconds. The frighteningly large fish tells SpongeBob he's heard that he's the best fry cook in all of Bikini Bottom and has been dying to taste one of his burgers. A crowd then gathers around Bubble Bass as he takes a seat. SpongeBob joins them, wanting to see the face of yet another happy customer. He takes a bite, and all seems good until a disappointed Bubble Bass tells the entire restaurant that SpongeBob forgot the pickles. The Krusty Krab falls silent as every single fish's face is one of disappointment. Shame fills the sponge as he desperately searches for the pickles on Bubble Bass's burger, while Mr. Krabs has to deal with an angry customer who's asking for a refund. Oh man, SpongeBob is in complete denial about his mistake and only makes himself look worse. His boss, who should be comforting him, instead throws him back in the kitchen. SpongeBob tries to forget about his pickle problem, but it's clearly affected him massively at this point. He forgets how to make a Krabby Patty.
mustard pan. Oh no!
But if you thought that was bad, forgetting how to make a burger is the least of his troubles, as Mr. Krabs tells him that he needs some time off work to recover. Quickly after, though, SpongeBob forgets how to do, well, anything. He can't walk through doors. He can't remember how to go to bed. He can't remember how to even talk. Mr. Krabs goes to check on his former superstar Sponge when he realizes he's losing out on customers because, I'll be blunt, Squidward cooks about as well as he paints.
He burnt my Krabby Patty.
He burnt my fries.
He burnt my shake.
What Krabs finds can only be described as a complete and utter mental breakdown. He has a toaster hanging on his door, for crying out loud. Krabs makes it his mission to help his fry cook. Time passes, and SpongeBob still can't quite get to grips with making a patty and verbally unloads on Krabs for forcing him to do something he can't do.
I can't put a patty on a bun with lettuce, cheese, onions, tomatoes, ketchup, mustard, pickles, and top bun together in that order.
It's time.
But somehow it works. SpongeBob, in a fit of fury, manages to put together the perfect patty once more, so heads back to the Krusty Krab to do what he was born to do: flip burgers. The news that SpongeBob's back brings customers flocking to the restaurant, including Bubble Bass, who demands another burger and questions if he's truly better. He tells our sponge friend, "Don't forget the pickles." SpongeBob confidently produces the burger instantly and watches the bloated Bubble Bass chomp down on it, who reveals once again SpongeBob has failed and forgot the pickles.
You failed again, SpongeBob loser pants.
But as Bubble Bass laughs in victory, SpongeBob notices something hiding under his tongue. The pickles. And the pickles from last time. And somebody's car keys. But that doesn't matter. What matters is SpongeBob was never a failure and was only conned into thinking he was. However real or not, the shame SpongeBob felt in both burger bouts is enough to give you a lifetime of self-doubt, especially when it comes to his livelihood. That's without mentioning his boss was happy enough to substitute him for a second-rate cook and only really cared when he saw his wallet looking a bit thin. The next episode on our list to look at when it comes to the life of SpongeBob is Rock Bottom. I know what you're thinking. You've seen a guy try to cook a bicycle on a stove and wear underwear on his head. Surely that's Rock Bottom. Well, you'd be right. But this episode is all about the deeper, darker sister town to Bikini Bottom. The episode starts with SpongeBob and Patrick after a fun-filled day at Glove World, a glove-themed amusement park. They're on the bus home comparing knickknacks they bought during the day. During this, they get completely lost in the fun of it all and miss their stop. The next stop their bus will be going to is Rock Bottom. The two try to talk to the bus driver to see if he can help them. Instead, he just kicks them off because of SpongeBob's giant glove balloon, leaving them stranded. What a letdown. That pun was fully intended, by the way. After seeing an assortment of weird underwater life, the duo decide they need to get the heck out of the weird town. SpongeBob tries to go and look for some help while Patrick waits for the bus. But Patrick, being Patrick, doesn't do his job properly and gets on the next bus without telling SpongeBob in time.
SpongeBob, the bus is here.
SpongeBob tries, but fails to catch the bus, and is left totally alone in a deep, dark, unknown world. It seems SpongeBob's luck is completely out, as no matter what he does, he keeps on missing bus after bus after bus. And to make matters worse, he even loses his glove balloon, although a strange fish offers to go chase it down.
No, not the balloon. I need to know when the next bus comes.
As time passes, it's almost like the bus drivers are working in unison to stop SpongeBob from getting a ride home. So he marches in anger to the bus station to demand answers to his bus problem, where he sees the ugliest, meanest, monstrous fish you could imagine also waiting in line. So instead of causing trouble, he goes to the back of the line, 329th to be exact. Time passes, and our severely unlucky Sponge seems to get even unluckier, as he's told the last bus to Bikini Bottom leaves in 5 seconds. So he's going to have to spend an entire night in the creepy Creepsville that is Rock Bottom, with no food, no shelter, and a monstrous-looking, I don't even know if they're fish, walking around. SpongeBob tries to get through the night as quickly as he can, but the darkness is advanced. Terrified, he quickly leaves the bus station and is followed by an echoey noise, which seems to be getting closer and closer, making him sprint away in fear.
Running. Better start running. Running. Sprinting. Yes, I just gotta keep sprinting.
But as he soon realizes that it's just the fish from before and he's found his giant glove balloon, a sense of relief watches over him. As SpongeBob thanks him, the fish ties the balloon around his arm and begins inflating it, to the point it starts to lift SpongeBob out of Rock Bottom and back to the city limits of Bikini Bottom. Finally, he can go home. I think this is an important episode to highlight, because while no one is directly doing anything to him like Bubble Bass did, his luck here is too bad to be true. Strangely, I feel that's another facet of his life. SpongeBob SpongeBob has rotten luck, but at the same time, he was lucky enough to stumble on maybe the friendliest fish in that part of the ocean, who helped him get back home. Does that balance out the bad luck? Well, no. SpongeBob might have made a new friend in that episode, but in a later episode, Fools in April, a friend he thought he could trust betrays him in the most humiliating way. The episode starts with SpongeBob revealing his favorite holiday, April Fool's Day. He goes about his morning enthusiastically, playing harmless pranks on Gary and himself.
April Fools! To me! Ah!
Now ready for work, a happy SpongeBob sets off for a great day. Squidward, meanwhile, notices what day it is and frantically calls Mr. Krabs to get the day off work so he doesn't have to put up with SpongeBob on the most insufferable day of the year. Jeez, isn't he meant to be his friend? Well, SpongeBob thinks he is anyway. Mr. Krabs tells Squidward to get his tentacles in gear and get down to the Krusty Krab in double time because a representative from the Barnacle Bay Art Museum is at the restaurant and they want to honor him as Artist of the Month. Obviously, the ego-driven squid races to work, only to find it was SpongeBob's innocent April Fool's pranks and there isn't anyone there to see him. Squidward threatens to quit on the spot, but SpongeBob promises that he'll never target him with his childish pranks again. All seems to be going good. SpongeBob goes on an April Fool's Day binge, pranking everyone and anyone.
Hey, what's that?
Oh, I didn't see anything. Hey, where'd that other guy go?
April Fools!
His pranks go over pretty great with the customers. All of them laugh with him, and the Krusty Krab is a fun place to be, unless you're named Squidward. He stays in the back of the restaurant, silently fuming over the laughter and fun being had. It's like someone else's joy hurts him. Squidward snaps and decides he's going to show SpongeBob a real prank, a convoluted trap which sends SpongeBob flying across the restaurant, being smashed from wall to wall, covered in flour, and when he falls, Squidward catches him in a trash can.
April Fools, you little sausage!
So, one person, who SpongeBob trusted, who he sees as a friend and promised he wouldn't pranks him in the most horrible way imaginable. There's no fun and games to what Squidward did. It was just evil. You're at work having fun, then the next minute you're being tossed around, covered in junk and completely embarrassed. In front of a room of people? No wonder SpongeBob ran off crying. That's rough.
April Fools. Jerk.
Wait, don't go!
That episode wraps up with SpongeBob pulling an even bigger prank on Squidward. But still, the poor little sponge had to go through all that first. And to think, SpongeBob has always stepped up for Squidward when he needed him most. Like in the episode Band Gigs, which, by the way, is one of the best in the entire series. I will stand by that for the rest of my life. SpongeBob stepped up, rallied the troops, and pulled together an unbelievable performance worthy of a Bubble Bowl. And who did he do it for? Squidward. The way SpongeBob is treated by those he thinks care about him is horrible.
That's his eager face.
Which brings us to the episode Patty Height, which starts with the Krusty Krab being without a customer for a whole 36 days. It seems the Bikini Bottomites have grown tired of your typical Krabby Patty and have gone for something a little more gimmicky. Krab senses this and knows he needs to pivot his business to something with a little more pizzazz, but he just can't figure out what. He ignores SpongeBob time and time again, who tells him he has a great idea on how to get business booming again in the restaurant. Krabs finally caves when SpongeBob goes the extra mile to get his attention.
What in the name of money are you waiting for, boy?
SpongeBob's big idea is Pretty Patties, painted burgers which come in 6 designer colors. On the face of things, it seems like a real risk to do something like that, and may put off some potential customers. But Krabs did ask for a gimmick, although instead of giving SpongeBob some feedback, politely saying no or something constructive, I don't know, decent, he encourages Squidward to come over to see SpongeBob's idea, and they both start laughing at him.
Me an orange patty with extra purple.
The two continue to pummel SpongeBob with insults over his idea until the pure-souled sponge is on the verge of tears. But instead of backing down, SpongeBob doubles down and vows to make his idea a success, and he quits the Krusty Krab. I know, I can't believe I'm even saying that myself. SpongeBob's lifelong dream was to be part of the Krusty crew, but even he can't take how unprofessional and mean his boss and coworker are to him. Joining him on his new business venture is Patrick, and he's pretty much always got SpongeBob's back. After a few setbacks, customers begin to flock to SpongeBob and Patrick's burger stand, flooding money into the pockets of the pair. Meanwhile, back at the ghost town that is now the Krusty Krab, a bitter Krabs watches as an idea he shunned is reaping all the rewards. Now that is finally some underwater karma in favor of Mr. SpongeBob SquarePants. So much so that Krabs decides to offer SpongeBob a trade, the Pretty Patties business for the Krusty Krab. That's right, money-mad Mr. Krabs tries to prey on the hopes and dreams of his former fry cook by trying to manipulate him into giving up a serious cash cow or the dwindling Krusty Crab. And of course, SpongeBob accepts. Money doesn't matter to him. He finally gets everything he ever wanted. Karma isn't quite done with crabs though, as it's revealed that Pretty Patties come with a crazy side effect that changes the tongue color of the fish that eats them. So an angry mob turns on the new Pretty Patties owner and chases him out of Bikini Bottom. I think if there's one thing for certain, it's that you underestimate SpongeBob when it comes to patties, which is something Krabs has done before actually.
Go back to your corners, and when the bell sounds, come out cooking. Don't worry, lad. I have total confidence in you. Put it all on Neptune!
You'd think with the amount of money Krabs has made from working with SpongeBob that he'd treat him better. I guess you don't realize how good something is until it's gone. Which brings us to the episode Welcome to the Chum Bucket, where Mr. Krabs goes to his weekly card game with Plankton. Krabs tells SpongeBob it's his favorite day of the week because he always wins, and always walks away with Plankton's money. In fact, he never loses. Though SpongeBob does warn his boss that winning streaks always come to an end. The next day, a sprightly SpongeBob finds his boss crying that he's lost something. All of his money? The Krusty Krab? The Krabby Patty formula? No, he's lost SpongeBob. It turns out Mr. Krabs bet SpongeBob's contract with Plankton, and he lost.
What kind of cold, heartless person would break apart such a loving relationship? I would!
Foolish Krabs has finally lost the one thing that kept his business afloat, an employee who would do anything for him. On the bright side, at least, we get this.
This grill is not a home. This is not the stove I know.
If you get the chance, check the full song out. It's sad, but man, that is catchy. This sad episode ends in a happy ending, for Krabs at least, because Plankton can't take working with SpongeBob. Even putting his brain in a robot backfires. So he takes him back to the Krusty Krab and figures that trying to steal the formula is still his best bet of getting a freshly cooked Krabby Patty. Krabs gets lucky this time. But yet again, another case of SpongeBob having to foot the bill for someone else's mistake. Does anyone in this town think about him? I mean, without SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs would be sitting in Joe's Crab Shack. Remember, King Neptune threatened to sizzle the crab to a crisp in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and SpongeBob stepped up again. This sponge's entire existence is either one bit of bad luck after another, or one of his friends trying to get rid of him, not taking him seriously or making fun of him. And you know what? We can all learn from SpongeBob, because every single day, he turns up with a smile on his face, and he gets on with it, despite all odds. He's happy. He does what he loves. He has fun, and at the end of the day, he has his place in the world. Although, yeah, I wish some people were a little kinder to him. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know down below what your favorite SpongeBob moment is, and let me know if you've got any suggestions for another character deep dive. But for now, we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.